Stay with me as we expand our knowledge with videos and theories from all over the internet that's going to make you rethink everything. Let's just start.
Young people, don't work hard, work smart, consistently. And what you'll do is you'll create a rhythm that heaven will respond to. And everything you want will come to you. You have to move, but you can't move aggressively all the time. It's just like working out. You can't work intense at a high intense level all the time, because if you do, you tax your nervous system too quickly. Well, it's the same thing in the godly realm. If you tax your physical, you don't have peace. That's your nervous system in the spirit. So what you need to do is move smart, strategically, schedule, plan, but be consistent in that, and heaven will move for you.
Everybody's obsessed with this notion of wasted time. I made a wrong decision. I married the wrong person. I picked the wrong job. I moved to the wrong city. How about not believing that? How about believing it was just part of your fucking story? You think any book that's interesting doesn't have the chapters where there's adversity, there's conflict? You ever watch a fucking movie? They get you all juiced up and, oh, here comes the fucked up part, but good news, here comes the fucking fixed part. Like, you think anybody goes to fucking heaven and played it 100% correct? Who the fuck played it 100% correct? Like, the fuck? Bro, you didn't waste shit.
These are logos with hidden logos inside them that I bet you didn't know about. I'm not going to do ones like FedEx's arrow or Amazon's A to Z with a smile, because those are pretty well known. The Tour de France is a really sneaky one. The O in Tour and the yellow circle form a bike, where the R resembles a bike rider. Tostitos has a pretty clever design where they use the two T's in the middle as people that are dipping a tortilla chip in a bowl on top of the eye. At first glance, this logo is the shape of the African continent, but if you look closer, you'll see the outline of a mother and a daughter. The Pinterest logo is pretty straightforward. It's just a P inside of a red circle. However, the P is actually meant to be a pin. This one I had no idea about, but Hyundai's slanted H is actually meant to represent two people shaking hands, the salesperson and the customer. Toyota's logo is kind of a deep cut. It represents every letter in the company's name. The B and R in Baskin-Robbins hides a 31, which represents the 31 flavors they have at the restaurant. Everyone knows the Wendy's logo, but on the collar of Wendy's dress, it reads Mom, to give you that homey feel. Everyone's noticed the B inside the Beats logo, but it's actually meant to represent someone wearing the headphones. And lastly, Toblerone. Most people miss the bear inside the mountain, meant to represent Bern, the city where it's made.
If what you're saying is really important, slow down. When you slow down, that acts as a verbal highlight. It's an auditory highlight that lets the person listening know this bit here is critical. Notice how this bit seems quite important. There's nothing important there, but doesn't it seem vital? That's the impact of slowing down. It's a verbal highlight. Follow me for more. We post about communication skills every single week.
This is so satisfying to watch.
This man found a cave that leads to Disneyland restrooms.
I'm here at the entrance of the secret cave that goes into Disneyland. Now, if this works and it actually does go into Disneyland, I have an annual pass, so I'm not trying to steal admission. Here goes. It's kind of short. I think I made it. I think I made it. I did make it. I made it. I made it, I made it, I made it. I am in Disneyland. It works. The cave is real.
Who came up with such a stupid idea where the woman's money belongs to the woman, the man's money belongs to the home? Because you're asking yourself, if we're working together, how do we as a couple plan it and make sure that we enjoy the fruits of our labor? This concept of the man has to provide everything is flawed. Provision doesn't come from man. If I look at scripture, the competition for our soul is worshiping a God that we can trust to bring us resources or grant us the strategies to get our resources or chase money. If the good Lord decides to bless you, the man, to have more money than your spouse, it's a blessing. What happens to the situation when the woman is blessed more than you? Is that going to affect your ego? Many sons out there are suffering because they have seen their heroes, their fathers, do it all. It was an illusion. The good marriages of our parents was that my mom would earn money and give it to my dad and made my dad appear to be the one in control of finances.
Is that what should be happening?
It's how you agree to do it. And if the two people who have decided to journey together can come to an agreement, the children will not see where there's a lack. But when there's no money in the house, you tell me, the wife wants something she wants to look good, but there's no money. How long will she keep praying for you to step up?
God's job is to prune people from your life that prevent you from your purpose. You don't need closure, you don't need one last conversation, and you don't need another excuse to hold on. The enemy loves keeping you stuck on the wrong person, so you're too distracted for the right one. Stop gripping onto what God is trying to free you from and let him lead you into what he has for you. Our job as the branch is to stay connected to the vine, so if God is trying to prune somebody out of your life, stop getting in his way.
Every black artist or every black actor gets to a certain point, gets taken out. Whether it's Michael or Crosby or R. Kelly or Prince, they all either die under mysterious circumstances,
Nipsey,
or they become troubled and die of an overdose or some medication, or they get done for some sex crimes or whatever. I mean, in R. Kelly's case, every single one of those children were basically sold to him, allegedly sold to him by their parents. You know, and this is, you know. We'll talk. Yeah, maybe that's a conversation for another day. But you know, like, there's so much of that in the entertainment industry. But there are no prosecutions of white artists. There are no prosecutions of country artists. Nobody. Madonna's never got in trouble for her 16-year-old boyfriends.
Yeah, why haven't we got Eminem yet?
No, where's Eminem? Where's Eminem? Could it have anything to do with this?
The country stars you're thinking of.
Well, Eminem. Yeah, country stars. Okay, yeah. I'll tell you after the show. No, I mean, Eminem woke up one day an angry lesbian, and with very left-wing politics. I wonder why that might have been. Who knows? Who can say? But it's only ever black artists who get their reputations absolutely ripped to shreds in public, get accused of the worst thing that a person can be accused of.
Very true.
Right? And always when they get a little bit too big for their boots, a little bit too outspoken, a little bit too edgy, or a little bit too quote-unquote uncontrollable, when they won't take their meds, when they won't do as they're told, when they won't shut up about Israel, when they won't shut up about contracts, when they won't do as the establishment and as the architecture, the machinery of the industry wants them to do, suddenly they're guilty of underage sex with kids, people trafficking, all the rest of it. Well, I mean, maybe the truth is that the whole industry does it. Maybe the truth is that nobody does it, probably closer to the first one. But these selective prosecutions, I'm not a big, I'm not a big, like, civil rights, let's defend black people for the sake of it guy. I don't even really care for the music that much. I like Ye as a singular instance because he's an artist in a slightly different league and a different caliber than the rest of them. I don't really listen to the music from the rest of that genre, to be honest with you. But even I cannot deny that the prosecutions are targeted, selective, and gruesomely unfair in the way that they are played out in public, and the manner in which the juries are tainted and poisoned beforehand. But this guy's like on trial, and Netflix decides to. I mean, come on.
They murdered Michael Jackson.
100%.
And
they murdered
someone gave Prince fentanyl.
They murdered Michael Jackson after he started talking about Jews. And I'm not going to say that what he said about them was right or wrong or whatever, but it is a fact of history that, first of all, they released the recordings of a phone call where he was complaining about Jews in some not very pleasant language. And I think he had a similar problem with Jewish people, that sort of universalized to Jewish people in general, which some people will certainly think is unreasonable and unfair. But I think he had a similar problem with Jews that maybe Ye has with Jews, that maybe the other black artist has with Jews, which is that if you've been in the business for 30 years, there are a lot of people called Goldstein and
he wrote a song
and
about
Raffensperger. Michael Jackson's
We can't use those lyrics.
No, we can't use that lyrics. But for 30 years, there have been certain surnames on the contracts that you find out 2 years later, actually, you can't do that, and we own this, right? After 30 years of it, you start to think, well, maybe it's all of them. It's not an unreasonable. Let's put it like this: it's not an it's a relatable bigotry. Let's say that. Anyway, look. The point is that Michael Jackson was taken out right after he started making these statements, right after he started talking about this particular kind of person. Suddenly he was unreachable, and so they first of all they leaked a voicemail to scare him into shutting up, and then when he didn't, suddenly he was dead.
Propofol.
We're gonna go to Super Chat.
I don't think people realize how much having charisma and charm will do for you in life. Make an extra effort with that person. Go to office hours. Go up and say hi to people. Start conversations, because when people like you, you get different privileges. People don't always make a business choice, hire somebody because it's the right thing to do. They usually hire and work with people that they like. Sometimes you can focus on nothing else but just your charm. If you just work on that and being a people person, going up to people, complimenting people, starting conversations, like I said, go to office hours, making an effort, your life is going to become a lot easier. I'm sure we've all seen people in our lives make excuses for other people just because that person is likable. You made a mistake, you said something stupid. Oh, well, she's great. I love her. It's okay. You get little perks and privileges, and your life is a lot easier when you're a likable person that people enjoy being around. Now, obviously, don't go being fake and being a kiss up and whatever. That energy is different and people can sense when it's not authentic. But if you're truly just a likable person that enjoys talking to people and making an effort, you're going to have a totally different life.
Do you believe that washing your hands with salt can drive away all bad luck? Now, go to the kitchen, take a handful of salt and put it in the palm of your hand. Turn on the faucet and make sure the water flows slow. Rub your hands slowly to let the salt dissolve completely. After washing, dry your hands. Salt is not only a seasoning. In ancient times, salt was used to expel evil spirits and ward off bad omens. trick is quite useful. If you want to know more feng shui tips, follow me and I'll share more with you.
Here's another example of how the Warriors are using physical AI to support their players.
Yeah, at first it was definitely weird, having all these robots moving around and doing stuff. But they just become part of the day-to-day.
These robots can replicate any of them. I just treat them like any other player. Get the f*** out of here. Give me another one.
It's time to get swole.
This guy makes me feel like Luke Skywalker. He's like my R2. Isn't that right, Kay?
That's right, Big G.
See, I told you before. You're supposed to be over there. Kind of feels natural at this point.
These are just some of the major changes for America that Trump made official yesterday. He signed an executive order reinstating the death penalty for any illegal migrant who commits a capital crime and anyone convicted of murdering a law enforcement officer. He declared a national border emergency, halting all illegal entry immediately, which also paves the way for US troops to be sent to the southern border. He delayed the TikTok ban by 75 days. He ordered 2 name changes, the Gulf of America and Alaska's Mount Denali to Mount McKinley. He officially signed DOGE into existence, which is the new department led by Elon to cut government spending. He signed a mandate where all federal workers must work in the office, saying that over half of the 2 million federal employees either work regularly from home or are fully remote. He pardoned about 1,500 defendants charged in the January 6 attack on the US Capitol. He signed an order to restore freedom of speech in America and end government censorship. He reversed 78 Biden administration regulations, including pausing foreign aid, reversing the acceptance of gender identity, now only recognizing 2 genders, and the other is to do with the pandemic, and I can't even say it on here, otherwise the video will get censored. Go to my YouTube for that. He is removing America from the World Health Organization in 12 months, saying that they are ripping off the country and the United States will stop all financial contributions to their work. He withdrew America from the Paris Climate Agreement for the 2nd time, calling it an unfair, one-sided ripoff. I mean, that was just part of a much broader effort to roll back climate policy, because he also declared a national energy state of emergency, promising to fill up oil reserves and drill baby drill, and also cut off climate-related funding, which was approved under the Biden administration. And all of that was day one. So the question is, does this excite or scare you?
Elon called me. He said, you know, they're trying to drive us apart. I said, absolutely. No, they said, we have breaking news. Donald Trump has ceded control of the presidency to Elon Musk. President Musk will be attending a cabinet meeting tonight at 8 o'clock. And I say, it's just so obvious. They're so bad at it. I used to think they were good at it. They're actually bad at it, because if they were good at it, I'd never be president. Because I think nobody in history has ever gotten more bad publicity than me. I could do the greatest things. I get 98% bad publicity. I could do, outside of you and a few of your very good friends, it's like the craziest thing. But you know what I have learned, Elon? The people are smart. They get it.
Yeah, they do, actually.
They get it. They really see what's happening.
Yes.
Marijuana is bad for the brain. I published a study on 1,000 marijuana users. Every area of their brain is lower in activity. And just today, a study came out in the Journal of the American Medical Association on 1,027 marijuana users. It decreased activity in the hippocampus that affected their memory centers. If you're a teenager and you use marijuana, in your 20s, you have a higher incidence of anxiety, depression, and suicide. This is not innocuous. And we've been advertised this load of crap, which is, it's just good medicine.
These 2 brother soldiers in the Russian army face the grim reality of war on the devastating battlefields of Ukraine. Both were tasked with carrying essential supplies for their unit on a motorized rickshaw. The soldier seated behind held his mobile phone, recording a video as they drove along. With an uneasy laugh, he asked his brother what it felt like to be on Ukrainian soil. Little did they know, a Ukrainian drone was watching their every move from above. After traveling only a short distance, disaster struck. A grenade dropped by the drone landed directly in front of their rickshaw. Shrapnel tore through the air, injuring them both. Panicked and disoriented, they abandoned the vehicle and began running for safety. The elder brother grabbed the younger one's hand, pulling him forward while frantically calling their unit on the walkie-talkie for help. The relentless drone pursued them, hovering menacingly overhead.
Some of y'all gonna end up like Samson,
Samson had a vow, bruh. Don't cut your hair off and don't drink no alcohol. God gave him his strength. As long as he don't drink no alcohol, some of y'all niggas can't put down the wine. Some of y'all niggas can't put down the 1942. Some of y'all niggas can't put down the crown. God told Samson, just don't reveal the secret. But the nigga fell in love with Delilah. Look, he fell in love with this fine, tall, probably dick. Probably did now. Probably giving him that guac 3000. And after a failed attempt, he finally gave in and told this woman what his power was. That his hair was his strength. He woke up the next day, hair gone. He lost all his strength, lost all his powers. They done came the next morning, picked him up, cut his eyes out, captured him. The reason I brought this story up is because temptation is killing a lot of y'all right now. You know this motherfucker ain't right for you. You know this not the person for you, but you fall in love with the box, you fall in love with the person, and you stop seeing the sign. Because you squeezing your toes when she on top, that y'all ignore the bullshit. Y'all niggas asking the wrong question. Y'all niggas asking what that mouth do, nah, what that brain do, what that education do, what that relationship with God do.
A blue suit delivers the perfect message. Trust, calm, stability. A deep blue suit exudes authority, important for business meetings. While tradition says French cuffs are formal, I think you should incorporate it in your business attire. Cufflinks offer an avenue of personal expression, like the pair that I'm wearing today. Clean, but it's not competing with my tie. Explore the many options in a suit at the link in my bio. And remember, having fun with what you wear is the first step to enjoying how you wear it.
No skill.
Look at that. That is pretty sick, man.
Breaking news! Now, I don't know how true this is, but Trump says that he plans on signing an executive order making all sexual-based crimes against children a federal offense, which would also carry a mandatory death sentence.
This is good.
Now, I don't know about you, but I am 100% for this. There should be a harsh consequence for any individual, man or woman, that harms a child. I feel that people that are sexually attracted to children or just have it in them to harm children in general cannot be reformed in any way, shape, or form. So to me, a death sentence would at least make them think twice if they have it in them, and possibly save a lot of children from being sexually harmed in any way, shape, or form. So let me know in the comments. Do you agree with this decision? Do you disagree with this decision?
Do you agree?
Do you think that people can be reformed? Or do you think they can't be? Are you for the death sentence or are you not?
Here's a crazy prediction for you. Elon Musk's son, the first American king. If Barron Trump isn't the first, he might be the second. But I have a feeling the way the government is breaking down right now, President Trump is exposing everything. I think he's going to be shutting down more and more corrupt organizations, which is a good thing. It's an amazing thing. But the more and more bureaucracy that they shut down, that's less people around, so that's more power at the top. And I'm not saying that against Trump. What he's doing is great. But what comes after sometimes could be the worst thing that happens. So here's my theory on this whole thing. How Elon Musk's son could run everything one day. His dad already is the richest man in the world. So he'll already have the wealth to do whatever he wants to do. Think about Neuralink. It controls your mind. Let's say a huge part of the population, not everyone, actually gets the Neuralink. And just some of the people are going to resist to whatever he says. How easy will it be for them to turn on a switch that makes everything positive about his son? Everything you hear about him, even if it's something negative, it's in your mind. They will control you and you will say, nah, they're lying about him. That's BS. Let's say he brings it up to Senate. I think I should be a king. The way the direction of the country is going, I think I should be a king. Let's put it up for a vote. The Senate is all Neuralink, so they're all going to vote for him. So now he's the king without a coup, without an army, without anything. But let's talk about an army. Elon Musk's son could be on a level where he has his own robot army. This is not far-fetched. This is the richest man in the world who already has AI robots. He already has robots so advanced that 40 years from now, when this kid is old enough to be president, he could legitimately have a robot army. No bullshit, that'll take out any army that exists. They don't have to eat. They don't get tired. They don't complain. They don't get scared. They just do what they're programmed to do. And on top of that, you got to think about it. The Neuralink, even if it's 60%, 50% of the population, they're all with him. I mean, he's going to have an American army and a robot army on top of that. So if you don't listen to what he says, it's over.
Here's something interesting. Ready? Mm-hmm. You know who the smartest person in the world was? It was the first person to figure out you can build a ship and everything you make the ship out of is denser than water and it can float. You can build a ship out of steel and have it float. It changed warfare. You don't have to build your boat out of wood, right, which is susceptible to cannonball fire. Right. You can build it out of steel. Right. How do you get it to float? Because the part of the boat that sits below water is mostly air. The hull of the ship sits below water. Right. So what matters is not that steel is heavier than water and air is lighter than water. It's what is the average density of that which you have plunked in the water. It's the total volume divided by the total mass. It has less mass than you think because most of it is air.
All makes sense. But in traditional Chinese medicine, if you didn't know, they said that anger weakens your liver, while grief weakens your lungs, worrying weakens your stomach, fear weakens your kidneys, and then stress, it weakens both your heart and your brain. Super interesting.
Well, 3 years ago, the arrival of 5 red heifers in Israel attracted global attention. Well, today, those cows are in ancient Shiloh. CBN's Chris Mitchell explains the significance of this historic event.
Here in Shiloh, first time after 2,000 years, we have real kosher red heifers, which is really exciting.
Mariah Shapir is the manager of the visitor center at ancient Shiloh and explains why the red heifers are so important.
In the Bible, it says when a person wants to enter the temple, which is called the house of life, he has to go through a process using ashes of the red heifer, meaning that the red heifers are actually the key to the temple.
Shapira says that process is for purification, to cleanse someone from death.
So a person that got in contact with death, either in a funeral or in a hospital, and he wants to enter the temple, which is called the house of life, full of the presence of God, has to go through this process. And the process is the priest used to take the ashes of the red heifer, mix it with water that comes from a spring, life water. He's actually taking the source of death, mixing it with source of life, and these together become the purifying water.
Jewish tradition maintains that the red heifer ashes are needed to rebuild the third temple. Some Christians believe a third temple would pave the way for the end times. Even Hamas reportedly blamed the red heifers in part for their invasion on October 7th, because the Al-Aqsa Mosque would be in danger if the heifers were used to build a third temple. The animals are also mentioned in the book of Numbers, chapter 19. Then the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, This is the statute of the law which the Lord has commanded, saying, Speak to the sons of Israel, that they bring you an unblemished red heifer, in which there is no defect, and on which a yoke has never been mounted. And you shall give it to Eleazar the priest, and it shall be brought outside the camp and be slaughtered in his presence. To be selected, these qualifications must be met. Be an adult cow with reddish-brown hair, no
I
hairs
didn't
of
know
a different
about this.
color,
It's so
no
interesting.
blemishes, and never used for any other purpose.
These are the 5 red heifers out here in Shiloh. 2 have already been disqualified, but you only need 1 to qualify for the ceremony, for the purification for the temple. Here you go, ladies.
My next point is to try to find a farmer who can make hay, which is, you know, the flowers and the leaves and everything stay on them. That way it's better for the cows.
Larry Barnschwager, a farmer from northern Indiana, takes care of them.
It's just a lot of fun to be involved in something that I see God is doing behind the scenes.
He says what he's experienced since arriving here is remarkable.
While I've been standing here at Shiloh, every continent, countries I never heard of before, were here to see the red heifers. There's something happening in Shiloh.
And Barnschwager believes it's biblically significant.
Ideas are becoming a reality. In other words, the idea of a red heifer has been in the Jewish understanding for over a couple thousand years. But here at Shiloh, just like it says in Genesis 49, there's something happening here that's drawing the nations, and it's the red heifers.
This area is where Hannah prayed for a son, where Samuel served the Lord, and Joshua divided the land between the 12 tribes.
The place where many stories of the Bible occurred. And today we also have here the red heifers, which is something new. The budgets for this visitor center stopped because of the war. So we invite whoever wants to be part with us to help this very important thing of the red heifers.
Shiloh has so much significance. It was the spiritual capital of Israel for 369 years.
During our visit, Bible teacher Dr. Todd Fink brought his group to see the red heifers.
This is huge. This is huge, and the one gal that was giving us the tour, she said that part of the reason why Hamas invaded is because of these red heifers. And according to prophecy, these red heifers are significant from the time of Israel's history. They say that only 9 have been killed for these ashes. And so for these to be here in Shiloh here, and for that to fit in with what appears to be prophecy on the horizon, we're living in monumental days, unbelievable times.
Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Ancient Shiloh.
How old is too old to have a situationship? I'm sorry, if you're past 30 and you're still having a situationship, I don't know. I think you have to go figure it out and have a deep think.
I think late 20s.
Late 20s?
Yeah.
Oh. Now we're talking. 35? 35? Yeah. Nice. Why is that? I don't know, it just feels like a responsible age.
It is illegal to jerk off on a commercial airline flight. 39-year-old Krishna Kunapali is an Indian national flying on a half-empty flight from Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates, kind of near Dubai, to Boston. And he sees this attractive woman from behind, seated up in the next section, and she had the most beautiful, luscious hair. And his mind starts rolling, right?
Why will you do that?
There's a seat empty next to her. So he plops down next to her and he tells her how beautiful she is. And he begins stroking her hair on the plane and telling her that he's very, very wealthy and that he would pay her $5,000 to sleep with him at his hotel room when they arrive in Boston.
Last.
Okay. Layla turns him down. No. Not into it. Not into it, Matt Cox. She's having none of it. And he takes out his cell phone and starts taking pictures of her because he wants to memorialize how beautiful this woman is.
Wow.
She's losing it. He actually goes back to his seat, like a section behind her. And then Layla goes and tells the flight attendant, hey, listen, this is what occurred. I don't know this guy. He did this, he did this. And the flight attendant, gives her an appropriate amount of comfort. Meanwhile, our boy, Krishna, is back in his seat. And there's people sitting around him. This is an international flight, so you got the section on the right, you got the section on the left, you got like 5 seats in the middle. There's a lot of, still a half-empty flight, but there's people there.
Right.
Another passenger, a dude, looks over And Krishna is taking care of himself, is pleasuring himself there in his seat.
This is crazy. Why would you do this?
And the guy's looking right at Krishna. Krishna keeps at it. And then Krishna looks over, makes eye contact with the dude, and then pulls the blanket up over him, but continues doing his thing to himself. Right? And so the guy notifies the flight attendant. He's like, it has no context. All he does is see this guy pleasuring himself. Tells the flight attendant what's going on. The flight attendant, because it's a half-empty flight, clears everyone else out from that section and reassigns them to different seats. And so Krishna can have some alone time. They get there and they land in Boston. They call ahead. Some very, very lucky FBI agents get to escort Krishna off the plane. And under interrogation, he confesses to pleasuring himself on the plane. And he's charged with that lewd behavior on an aircraft. What would you sentence him to?
I mean, it's the same thing. You said it's the max is 90 days, but I think you have to take into consideration how good looking does this chick.
He got no time.
No time.
Pled guilty to lewd behavior on an aircraft. Got no time, 2 years probation, and I like this part, a $5,000 fine.
A statue of Jesus Christ is being put up right now at the White House. This is unbelievable. So for those of you who say that President Trump is not for Jesus or God is not on his side, then I want you to watch this video right here and tell me what you think. But this is amazing. Check this out.
Somebody said to me the other day, "You're the most famous person in the world by far." I said, "No, I'm not. No, I'm not." They said, "Yes, you are." I said, "No." They said, "Who's more famous?" I said, "Jesus Christ."
I like that. I really do like that.
I'm not taking any chances. I'm not going to have an argument. Hey, I'm not having any arguments. Jesus Christ.
So tell me, what president ever put up a statue of Jesus at the White House? None. None. So if you like this video, make sure that you subscribe and comment below. Jesus is King, because that's the truth.
Jesus is King. And we've come to the end of the video. This was so interesting. Even the relaxing videos in it made it so mind-blowing. And we've come to the end. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and also share with your friends. And also click on the notification bell icon so that any video that I post, you will be the first to get it. Adios amigos, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Bye.